Yo, why'd I come in so small like that? What's good, everybody? Happy Monday evening. Another start to another college football week and NFL week. Listen, we are on improvement week. It's not bye week, it's improvement week per Ryan Day and the players. So we're looking for them boys to improve. Some stuff to definitely improve on after that Ohio game, although we won by 4 touchdowns. Let's not forget that. But anyway, do me a favor. Please hit that like button. The little thumb you see there, click that. If you have not subscribed, please consider subscribing. Hit the bell for notifications. You know, you'll get like the videos will pop up on your phone, on your computer when we go live and things like that. And so also remember, when you send super chats, it helps to go towards the pay it forward, which is military, first responders. We're going to look out for them because they look out for us. Nevada, I'm bringing you in immediately, sir. What's going on, brother?
Well, I've missed you, man. It's like last time we talked, it was late Saturday night, and
Yeah.
my phone was dying. My steak was getting cold, and I had to leave you guys there after the smoking carnage of the Ohio U game, and but we're back at it, man. I'm excited, but I improvement weeks are nice, but I got to be honest. I hate bye weeks for
Yeah.
Ohio State because it's so long between games, and I
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
Thing. But lots to report on. There's lots of stuff going on. But yeah, I hate bye weeks. So my new mantra is I'm counting down the hours to the till Nebraska beats Michigan. So that's kind of what I'm looking forward to
Yes.
next. So I do have a new favorite team this weekend. Go Huskers.
Yeah. That is very accurate. And I was looking at the slate of games. There's actually a few other games that's pretty decent and solid, but that one is it. Husker folks out there, we are in allegiance this week. I'm gonna need you to handle business, just like the Oklahoma Sooner fan was here in our chat, basically saying, "Hey, yo, handle business." We did, and then they handle business. Same thing, man. Go ahead, man. Knock these boys out. They're puffing their chest out over the Central Michigan Chippewas win. They're a dominant team. I'm gonna need them to hold that L. Come on, Cornhuskers. Let's get it. We're gonna get to that in a little bit, but we definitely want to talk about the improvement week. You know, we've talked about the game, we've hit on some things, but me and Nevada haven't been together to talk about it. So we're going to touch on some things about the game. Also, I wanted to point some things out about Julian Sayin, Nevada statistically. And, listen, the more the more that film guys are watching Sayin, non-biased, non-Buckeye, non-Michigan, they're looking at Sayin and they're impressed, Nevada. They're looking at his numbers, they're looking at his poise, and they're seeing more and more like, hey, this dude is nice, man. So what do you know? Who's shocked?
Yeah, well, every year there kind of gets a narrative kind of going, and our job, we're the narrative busters here on the Buckeye Scoop, and we try to kind of set things, straight. Last year it was the Will Howard can't throw the deep ball, or JT Barrett isn't tough, or Trey Henderson doesn't have vision, or we'll just kind of shoot some things down. Well, I've noticed the new one is that there seems to be, because I think Chris Sims said it a couple of times on the Peacock thing, that Julian saying is like missing open guys or something like that. So now that's become, I've noticed that one kind of coming up a lot now, that Julian's missing a lot of open guys. And um it's I'm not here to defend Julian saying or whatever. I just here to kind of tell you the truth, to kind of explain to you how it works. When they call passing plays at Ohio State, the quarterbacks are given a list of progressions based upon the coverage,
Yeah.
and they are to go to their number one, look to their number one option first, then to their number two, then to their number three. I mean, they work their way down the list based upon the thing. So if the number five option happens to on the left side of the field happens to break free right away, but your number one option is on the right side of the field, and you're looking for the number one right side of the field,
Right.
you're not moving to that side of the field. Nobody can process the entire field in instantaneously in terms of doing it. That's not how it works for anybody. And so when they see, Brandon Ennis break open up at the top of the screen, but the play is to the inside receiver, and then to the right side slot, nobody's going there. So I just think that we've just, as a fan, you got to understand there's more to it than what's going on. It's not like any quarterback can look at every player on the field at all times, and then he's just choosing the open guy. He's got a list, and if he doesn't go through the list, if he doesn't go through the checklist, that's a losing grade for the quarterback at Ohio State. So you just have to understand how it works and how there's kind of a game inside the game, and things are not always as they appear. And just because somebody's open, if you're looking to the other side of the field, you're just not going to see it. And when these guys are open, they're only open for an instant. It's not like a guy's open for like 10 seconds or something. Like,
Right.
guys are open for a moment in time. But if that's not the moment in time you're looking at them, they might as well not be, on the field at all. So I just wanted to explain that as we kind of move through this whole thing about Julian Sand, because I've seen that criticism a number of times, and I just want to make sure that people are criticizing him for the. I think there's a lot of things to criticize Julian for, but that ain't one of them. So I just wanted to say that.
No, that's good stuff. And yeah, the notion that and that's even misleading though, how he said it. He's missing guys, missing what I mean. I hope he wasn't. Well, I guess he was trying to say that he's just not seeing them. Missing them is the wrong thing. That just makes it seem like he's inaccurate, but that's not the case. I guess he just saying he's not seeing the whole field. But like you said, Nevada, they have progressions. There's, hey, this is your first read. This is your second read, third read. And then some plays, that first read, you have to turn towards that direction if you want to be in position to fire the ball off accurately, unless you're just, Brett Favre and you can just fling it off your back foot every play and throw dots, even though he threw a lot of interceptions, but I digress. But no, that's fair. That's fair. So I guess someone could argue, was he supposed to, start on the side Brandon Ennis was on first? I don't know, but the point still stands is that he was looking on the other side of the field. There were clearly reads over there. So yeah, I mean, it is what it is. But again, those type of things are super correctable as far as the red zone goes. Punching it in, the issues, because this whole thing, Nevada, is stemming from the complaint or the concern about the red zone offense, which is a legit concern. But the red zone offense in itself will be worked on during this improvement week, whether it be from a play calling standpoint. Are we running the best plays? Are we executing these plays, or whatever? And then, of course, you got the specifics of the game plan for Washington. But definitely a good time to have some struggles and some challenges against a team that's overmatched, that really was never in doubt at home, to get ready for a tough environment at Washington, Nevada. So I love the fact that they had these challenges and still won by 4 touchdowns. And Ohio's no bum. Ohio was not New Mexico or Central Michigan. So, I'm not feeling no type of ways about it.
Well, I think, from the people that I've talked to at the Woody Hayes and the people I talked to around the program that are pretty smart and that kind of do it, to me, there's one glaring item about the red zone. And I think when you look at the red zone efficiency of the Ohio State teams throughout the Urban Meyer era, throughout the Ryan Day era, the one thing that, when they've struggled, it's when they've taken the quarterback run out of the equation. And
Yeah.
it's uncanny when you do that, when you take the quarterback run out of the equation in the red zone, because everything's so compressed and guys can, sell out to stop the run, and they don't have to account for the quarterback keeping and going around the end or doing whatever it is. It really creates problems for you trying to run the ball, and then you become one dimensional. For what, the passing games becomes more compressed. Ohio State wants a large field, a big area to throw on, because we've got such an athletic advantage. When the field shrinks, your athletic advantage shrinks as well. So, um, they've got to activate the QB run, in my opinion. And I know that there's people on the other side of that are like, no, you don't need to run the quarterback. Tom Brady never ran. And I'm like, this is 2025, man. Things have changed, and everybody runs the quarterback. Everybody. And if you don't run the quarterback, if you don't present the quarterback as a viable threat, especially around the red zone and in short yardage, you are just making it so difficult. And I think it's a big topic of conversation around Ohio State right now. I'm telling you, because obviously the Madden way to fix this is let's just bring in Lincoln. He can run it, and you can bring in Lincoln. He can run, but bringing in a different quarterback with a different cadence and maybe even showing that you're going to be it just you know there's all sorts of problems attendant with this kind of two quarterback system. I don't think they really want to fully embrace that. As kind of a down. Maybe it's an occasional thing, but not as a like every time we get in the red zone, we're bringing in Lincoln or whatever we're doing like that.
Right.
I've just never, rarely seen those situations work. Maybe Tebow when he was a freshman at Florida, maybe that worked, but he was kind of a special guy. But they've got to address that. And I know people don't want to hear that. I know people, but like you have got to address that, because as long as you don't address that, and as long as your play calling is predictable, your run game is predictable, and the passing game gets compressed, and the windows become smaller, you've got a freshman eligible quarterback, who wants to be careful with the ball, who doesn't want to turn it over. I think we're going to continue to struggle, and I think they've got to open that up. They've got to open it up to Julian's legs. He's not the fleetest guy. He got ran down on that one play, even though the guy kind of had the angle on him from the backside, and kind of got on up on his legs and kind of tackled him. But they've got to they've got to do that, and that's one of the things I'm going to be looking for out of Ohio State practice the next 2 weeks is what do they do about activating the quarterback run. Is that a Lincoln joint only, or are they willing to do it with Julian saying, I guess we'll find out at Washington, but I think that's going to be the key to open up things on the red zone in my humble opinion.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's the question. I'm very curious as well because you saw, real quick before you go off mute, I was going to ask you before I go into my spiel, what was your thoughts on the carry? Lincoln, he did convert on the Wildcat or whatever, the QB run when he came in. What did you think about that in that situation? Because obviously he ran. I mean, let me preface the question. Ryan Day in the interviews was saying that yes, there's a package. He can throw it too. He's not just limited to running. He said that. But are they really going to let him throw? I don't know. But what was your quick thoughts on that when he converted?
I, I I think it's neat. I think it's great, and I think it's neat. Um, I've yet to see, I should say I've never seen it work consistently, but I think it works a lot better in theory than it does in practice. When they try to do it with Tate Martell, when they try to do it with Devin Brown, when they try, what I'm saying? It just, I don't know why. I think that quarterbacks develop a certain rhythm with their offensive line and with the wide receivers and changing guys up. It's just different. Everything's different about having a different quarterback in there. And so I'm not sure if that's the answer, but I do know, or I should say, I'm strongly of the opinion that finding a way to activate the quarterback run is the key to the red zone and short yardage. So I absolutely believe that, just because I see it every week at every
Yeah.
level of football. High school. It used to just be the exclusive domain of high school and college football. Now it's in the pros, and it's all over the pros. You know who the leading rusher has been for the Kansas City Chiefs the first 2 weeks of the season? Patrick
Patrick.
Mahomes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes has led them in rushing. That's Patrick Mahomes, a guy on the Mount Rushmore of guys, and he ain't exactly, Lamar Jackson or Braxton Miller. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah,
Yeah.
he's athletic enough, but he's not like he's like some
Right.
burner.
Yeah.
And he is the franchise. Yet they run him. He's their leading rusher for the Kansas City Chiefs. So it's like, if they can do that with that, you're telling me we can't rush Julian Sayin? Like, come on.
Yeah.
I'm just
No,
not. I mean,
it's a
they got it. They got it. Even Jordan Love for the Packers ran one off the other day, broke it 15 yards, ran through a guy. Like, you got to run the quarterback. They have to do it. And this has been one of my rare areas where I just think that Ryan's got a blind spot. But the fact that we went 3 years without a rushing TD from QB1, I just hope we're not going back to that because, man, that is doing offense the hardest possible way.
Yeah, I mean it's a fair concern. I'm curious to see what happens. I do think I think Lincoln can be good if let's say it's fourth and goal, like literally fourth and goal, like on the goal line. I'd rather bring in Lincoln for a QB sneak, something like that. I think that would make sense. But also, if we're going to use Lincoln, like especially in the red zone, I want I wonder if the coaching staff is trying to see what the defense is going to do. Is the defense going to give a look of heavy, stop the run, which then opens up guys on the outside, like, hey, their Wildcat QB is in. Let's bunch the line, and then boom, you got 2 1-on-1s, or some room for JJ and Carnell or Claire to work. Are they trying to force looks to give Lincoln the ability to throw? And in a little less congested end zone, that's something to think about. With Sayin, my question is, does he know how to slide and does he know how to get out of bounds? Because you're right, he's not super fast, but he's not slow either. I told y'all he can scoot a little bit. He can get like 10 yards quick. He's fast enough. But once he gets into open field and those safeties come down or whoever, can he slide? Because if that's the case, then you don't run him a little bit. But just obviously, I don't want no Q draws with Sayin. He's too small. But get him on the edge and let him run. Let him keep on his own read one time in the end zone. If the look, gives to that. So anyway, but yeah, that's going to be an interesting question. That needs to be answered. And so I'm wondering during this bye week, is Ryan Day going to implement that more with Sayin or with Lincoln? We're going to see. Especially on the road, we will see, because Ryan keeps hinting that the Lincoln package is a real thing. So we'll see. But I did, and if you want to respond, go ahead, Nevada. I'm going to pull up these stats for Julian because I wanted to talk about his stats so far.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. They work on it all the time. They work that zone read action, and Julian's got it. He's not. These are not designed plays where they're called for him to just hand off every time. He can keep just you know, they just haven't done it yet. They just haven't. They don't dial those things. They run them in practice. They haven't run them in the games. When they get to the games, these things are called keeps and or are called gives rather. And yeah, I think it's the number one issue. The good news is Ryan Day is really, really smart. They've got a really, really smart people, looking
Yeah.
at this very issue right now as we speak. It's going to be, I won't say it's the sole focus of the team over the next 2 weeks, 10 days, 2 weeks, but it's a primary focus. It's fixing the red zone thing. But man, they've got to activate. I mean, just doing the occasional keep where the court lets those defensive ends crashing down and the quarterback keeps it and just walks around the end. I mean, you're not positioning yourself to get killed in that situation.
Right.
Let him keep the ball
Right.
every now and then. Give him a pass option. Let somebody leak out there, and he's got a run pass option on the edge or do whatever it is. But they've got to do that because what Ohio U was doing against us to stop the running game was they were selling out to stop the run, and the way to beat that was to punish them over the top. And until we were willing to do that, because some people are like, oh, you can just throw it deep every time, and well, until you're willing to do that, they're just selling out to stop the run, and it makes your run game less effective. And so you've got to punish them with whatever they give you. And so if they're going to sell it to stop the run when Lincoln's in there, like you said, he's got to be not only willing but able to pass the ball to the outside guys, convert that, and make good plays on that to keep them honest, because otherwise all you're going to get is 9 guys in the box, and I don't care how good Lincoln is or how athletic he is. That's going to be tough sledding. Because there's gonna be a lot of hats on him, and that's gonna be really interesting to watch.
Yep. Exactly. So we'll see how we adjust. I mean, again, this red zone struggle is a blessing in disguise. Like I would much rather have this against Ohio than on the road at Washington with a close game in the fourth quarter because we can't punch it in. Like, no, sir. I'm that's that is not a recipe for success. Real quick, here's a stat. It says the only Power 4 quarterback with a 60% plus completion rate on throws 20 plus yards. Julian Sayin is number one with 100%. The next guy, Kevin Jennings at SMU, 72.7. So there's an impressive stat right there. Nevada, were you aware of that stat?
I was aware. I mean, it's kind of a small sample size, but
Right.
I was aware of that stat. But yeah, I mean, Julian's certainly not a guy that's just, captain check down. He's willing to push the ball down the field. He's got receivers that can do that. And frankly, it's going to be the key to this Ohio State team, in my opinion, is how willing to dial up and keep working on the deep shots. And when they do make the deep shots, how aggressive are they going to be with with the receivers to make sure that those things aren't intercepted if they're 50-50 balls, because the whole theory is, if you've got JJ Smith or Carnell Tate out there wide with a one-on-one, that's open.
Yep.
One-on-one guy out there wide is open. So that's a throw every time you throw it up there, and JJ's job is either to catch the ball or knock it down, but it should never be intercepted. And I think that the more that they can punish teams with that, the more that they can kind of stretch them, vertically like that, the more it's going to open up the things on the ground. And I think the running game will become even more effective. And then when they implement the quarterback run into it on top of that, that's when I think we'll be hitting on all cylinders, and that's when this OSU offense will really kind of max potential. But I agree with you. Struggle against Ohio U, so you can work on it 2 weeks, so you get it kind of dialed in for Washington.
Yep. Absolutely. And then another stat, Julian Sayin is number 1 in completion percentage, number 4 in yards per pass attempt, and number 3 in passer rating in all of college football right now. And then he compares, Justin Fields, C.J. Stroud, Kyle McCord, Julian Sayin. So Julian Sayin has 779 yards passing right now. For comparison, Justin has 657, C.J. Stroud 963, Kyle McCord 815. And he just says he's way ahead for a 19-year-old. Be patient. In response to some people kind of like, having issues with the 2 interceptions and supposedly not seeing guys. So, but yeah, small sample size, like you said, but still impressive. And so to me, he's only going to get better, and the sky is the limit. And I'm excited. I'm excited to see him on the road in this tough environment. I do think it's going to be. I do think we're going to go into this game with some 12 and 13 personnel, run game, tight ends, pound it. We'll see. I mean, Washington's run defense is not highly rated, so I think that's going to be the safe bet. Step on their neck and run the ball down their throat and take some shots. But anyway, I'm excited. We can definitely get into the Nebraska and Michigan game if you want to, unless you got something else on that.
Well, no, I think you're exactly right. I think the Washington game plan is going to be. I think it's going to be kind of similar to the Texas game plan. Kind of establish some physicality, try to establish that running game. Wouldn't surprise me if it's a low scoring game. I'll be interested to see the total in that game. But to me, I think it's going to be a low scoring game, because I think Washington's really going to struggle to move the ball, and I don't think Ohio State's going to do enough to win the game. They just want to win the game, move on, check the box on this really tough road environment, and kind of moving thing. But I'm not expecting that, some 55-38 type of game. I think it's
Yeah.
more like 27-10 or 27-7 or something like that. And I think, you get out with a win like that, and everybody be really happy. But yeah, look, it's nice to have a quarterback that's as precise as Julian. Who's while we can talk about his 3 interceptions in 3 games, kind of memey interceptions. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Just we've talked about how, when you get one knocked down to the line, or one knocked out of your arm, and it goes right to a defensive lineman. Yeah, you don't really worry about. It's not like he's interceptions. Interceptions are not created equal. If you're high and late with the ball to a guy, like, let's just pull a name out of it, like say JJ McCarthy. Let's use him as an example of somebody who
Perfect
just really,
example.
it really sucks at throwing the football like that. Those are bad interceptions. But if you just have these memey ones that kind of knock down, it's not a big deal. And I I I'm not worried about Julian at all, other than, I think he needs to be more decisive with the ball. I think he's late. I think he's overthinking it, which is common with young quarterbacks. But when he does throw it, he puts it right where. I mean, he throws a beautiful ball. a very catchable ball, and a ball
Yeah.
that's exactly where he wants it to be. I just think he needs to let it go earlier, and when he starts doing that, then he's really going to be dangerous.
Yep, I definitely agree with that. And before we move on to Michigan, I'll just quickly say to your point about winning, just winning the game. I get the sense, Nevada, that Ryan Day, like he's been there, done that. He's been down the path. He's just about winning games. He doesn't care. Like I really believe he's just as, if not more, inspired to win another natty and become the first coach to win multiple natties at Ohio State since Woody Hayes, and the first Big Ten team since what, the 40s. So I think Ryan Day is hyper focused on just win the game. You know what I mean? Like the maturity he has, you can tell. And so I don't care if it's 27-10. Oh, the number one team didn't blow out an unranked Washington. No, we didn't. We won though. So I'm super cool with that. But yeah, moving on. We got this Nebraska Michigan game. I've been calling the upset for this game for weeks now. Listen, I'm not saying y'all that Nebraska's just a phenomenal team, a great team. I just don't think Michigan's that good, and they got to go on the road. And, I know they just beat up on the hapless Chippewas, but Nebraska's going to be ready. They're going to be pumped for this game. Nebraska can be a tough place to play, and they're gunning for them. This game is circled. And so what is it now? Is it -2? Did it move down to -2 last time I checked, Nevada?
That last time I looked at that's where it's at. Yeah, it's a close game. I mean, the Las Vegas sees this as a close game. I think a lot of people feel that way. I'm kind of with you. I think for Nebraska, this is Nebraska Super Bowl, and look, we
Mm-hmm.
saw Nebraska last year come into Columbus and darn near beat a really good Ohio State team. That's a really good national champion, one of the greatest Ohio State teams of all time, and they nearly beat us.
Yeah.
And that was with Raiola as a freshman. So, do I think Nebraska can beat Michigan? Heck yeah, I think they're gonna beat Michigan. I think Michigan is the perfect bully team. They'll beat up on the hapless little Central Michigan teams and all. They're front runners. That's Underwood's the same way. He's clowning on the sideline when they're playing against these terrible teams, but when they get against the good teams, he's a punk. So it's just like, I mean, he's the perfect Michigan quarterback. And, I think now you've got the situation where he's got to go to Nebraska. It's going to be, it's going to be unpleasant. People are going to be yelling about him. They're not going to be cheering him on there as they, run up and down the field against the Chippewas. And I think he's going to melt again, just like he did against Oklahoma. So yeah, I think Nebraska wins. I think Nebraska. I don't think the game has to be close. I think Nebraska wins by 10 or more. And I think Michigan kind of takes another step back because I agree with you. They're not very good. It was kind of like the hype over JJ McCarthy the first week after they beat the Chicago
Oh boy.
Bears. And then he went last night and he just completely soiled himself on national. And now he's out for 2 to 4 weeks with a bad ankle. More like we have to get somebody else in there to play quarterback because we have no
Bad
chance
ankle.
to win with you. I mean, yeah, that was funny. It's like I finished the whole game, but now I'm out the next 2 to 4 weeks with a bad ankle. It's like,
Oh yeah,
okay,
bro. Yeah.
yeah.
Listen, that's a good segue. I want to show this real quick. So remember, I told y'all that I had a post after the Bears game, or actually at halftime of the Bears game. It was this post, right? I had, Uncle Rico, and I showed his abysmal halftime stats and all that, right? Look at it. Look at that circle. 805 comments. Okay, just on an Uncle Rico post. I mean, 90% of those comments were Michigan fans, by the way, and nothing. Listen, they were posting comments taunting me and trolling all the way up through Sunday morning, even Sunday afternoon, still talking about that didn't age well. Well, they've been quiet since then. I haven't seen any posts in Nevada, no comments, no trolls. I even posted a few things on there to try to like, hey, I'm here, like come back and see me after that Falcons loss. Crickets. None of them scurried away like the cockroaches they are,
Well,
because
did you see his rating? His quarterback rating,
37% or something stupid like that.
it was, I don't remember what the number was, but they said that his rating would have been, if he would have gone to the line and spiked the ball every time, his rating would have been 39, and he ended up being at 37. So like he was so bad yesterday. I just it's one of the worst performances that I've ever seen. And the fact that people were like glazing this guy like he was like the next Tom Brady, and he's this and that, and he's got all this swag. I mean, the look of horror on his coach's face yesterday was like, that was classic, man. And Jefferson, just like you just says, look, and you know what he's thinking. You know, he's like, oh my God, we gotta find somebody who
Like,
can get me Carson Wentz, get me Kirk Cousins, get me somebody here that can throw me the ball because yeah, I mean, he's so bad. I mean, and what I like about it is not that I'm taking any particular glee in him failing, but I like that when the world makes sense, because I watched him play for years at Michigan and I thought this guy cannot throw the ball, and Jim Harbaugh does not trust him to throw the ball. And
clearly.
so when I heard him go and he gets top 10 pick and they're like talking about what a great ball thrower he is, I'm like, where? He was mediocre in high school. He was non-existent in college, and now all of a sudden he's going to become this great, spinner of the ball in the NFL. No. So I like it when the world makes sense. And the fact that he went back to sucking, and he sucked epically bad, and now has got the bad ankle. He's out for the next 2 to 4 weeks. Yeah, that was funny. I expect Fat Underwood to do something similar like that. He'll have another meltdown at in Lincoln. They'll lose, and Fat Underwood will have some sort of injury or something like that. So that's going to be the next. That's going to be that. You watch. When that comes down, you're going to be like, Nevada called it. Fat Underwood had some sort of, oh, I hurt my hamstring. I heard the thing when I was going through the buffet for the third time, and I pulled my arm and stuff like that. So that's my prediction.
Oh man. Yeah, and of course now, Biff Tannen is going to unleash Underwood. He has the green light to run anytime he wants to run.
Oh God.
Okay. All right, black shirts, Cornhusker black shirts. I'm gonna need y'all to handle business. All right. I'm gonna need y'all to smack this dude because again, this center bro, like Nevada, they were quiet, quiet for them after the Oklahoma game. But here they come strutting in like a peacock after this Central Michigan game on social media, just confident again. I'm just like, and then had the nerve, Nevada, to say, oh, y'all playing bums. Are you serious right now? Ohio would destroy the Chippewas, 3 or 4 touchdowns at minimum. Okay. Are we serious right now? But that's Michigan fans for you. But yeah, I'm very excited about this game. And let me see. I had the other games pulled up of okay, who we got? There's another Big Ten. I think Illinois. Doesn't Illinois play Indiana this week?
They do.
Yes. They're
Illinois,
at
Indiana.
Indiana. Yep, that's number 9 versus 19. So that's a matchup to take a look at on Illinois on the road. And see who else we got. Miami is hosting Florida. That should be interesting. Rivalry game. There's a few decent games, Nevada. Nothing too crazy, but a few decent games. Any one of those you looking forward to?
Well, Illinois, Indiana, I'm definitely looking forward to. I haven't had a chance to really watch a complete game for either one of those teams, and I really do want to see them. I think Illinois is really good. I want to
Yeah.
see if they line up with my expectations of what I think they're going to look like. But no, I think that's going to be a heck of a game. Um, other than that, it's literally, I mean, I'll watch the other games, but it's just going to be about the Nebraska Michigan game for me, and then on to the NFL. Now the following week, there's a lot of good games. The following week,
Yeah, I'm looking now. You're right.
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good games. There's like 8 or 9 or 10 like quality game. Now, obviously, all eyes are going to be in Seattle and watching that game, but there's going to be a lot of football meaningful football games in 2 weeks.
Ooh, okay. Yeah. Here we go, people. Let's tell y'all who it is. So Alabama at number 5, Georgia. You got that game. You got Oregon at Happy Valley for a whiteout at night. That's another big one. We're going to flip back and forth from that Georgia, Alabama. You got LSU at Ole Miss. That's a little sleeper game right there. That's a big game. And then USC at Illinois. That's interesting as well. Both ranked teams as for now. but some pretty decent matchups coming up. And then for this week, there was one that I thought I missed. Okay, this is funny, Nevada and chat. Will Notre Dame get their first? Will Notre Dame get their first win versus Purdue this week? Or are they gonna go 0-3?
Yeah, I mean, Notre Dame now has lost 3 in a row, including the national championship game. Um, yeah. Look, Mark's terrific guy, great story, very quotable young man, great thing. But I don't think he's a great head coach. I just don't.
Right.
I've when
Right.
everybody's been like, "Oh, Marcus Freeman should be the next head coach of Ohio State," I'm like, no, I'm not sure. I'm not sure now. I feel the same way about Luke Fickell. But a lot
Me
of people
too.
are like
Me
Luke
too.
Fickell, great Buckeye, legitimately tough guy. Luke Fickell is a legitimate tough. Luke, if you're listening, my name is Brandon Moses, and I live in Columbus, Ohio. And you come here, but yeah, no, I mean, he's a scary dude, and I mean that in the most loving possible way. That might be the toughest coach in all football, but do I think he's a great football coach? Not as a head. I don't want him as a head coach of Ohio State.
Yeah, me either, man. And
I
I
just
like
don't.
Luke. I agree, man.
I do too.
I agree.
I want somebody who's confident. And that game at Wisconsin, it's one of the four, the big four road games for Ohio State, looking a little less scary now. Now I know they've had some injuries, they've lost some guys and some stuff, but that makes me feel a little bit better about that game. Even though I do think Luke will have them fired up and they'll be ready to go and stuff. But I mean, hey, it's I do like rooting against Notre Dame. Here's the reason I root against Notre Dame. And everybody's got their own reasons for Notre Dame. I don't like the idea that you can stay independent, make your own schedule. You know what I'm saying? So it's like B Moses making the schedule. You're like, I'll take Navy and Air Force and Army, and you know what I'm saying, like that. And I mean, I'll sprinkle in maybe one game against Purdue, in-state opponent. I mean, like, I don't like the fact that you can do this. And then qualify for the national championship, and then talk about your independence and your NBC deal and stuff like that. I mean, in the conference, it's like you play at a conference like the Big Ten or the SEC, you get a real schedule. Now that the SEC is going to 9 conference games, like, you get a lot of tough games, man. And I just think that everybody should have to. Well, we're not gonna have to go through exactly equal roads to get to the thing. They should be semi-equal. There should be some sort of structure on that. And I don't like the fact that now for Notre Dame this year, they've played 2 tough teams. The only 2 tough teams they're going to play on their entire schedule, and they've lost to both of them. So
Yeah.
should they be? Are they a playoff team? Not in my opinion. I don't care
No.
what happens the rest of the schedule. I don't think they're a playoff team because they had their chance. They lost both games. I what could they do to change my mind? Nothing. And so, do I want them to lose again? Sure. But I really think that their goose should be cooked already because they don't really play anybody really worthy the rest of the way.
Yeah, I'm looking right now. They're
USC, maybe USC.
yeah, they're at Arkansas, who's unranked. They got Boise State. They got NC
Ter-
State at home,
terrible,
USC at home, at
terrible,
Boston College,
terrible,
Navy, at
terrible,
Pittsburgh,
terrible,
Syracuse, at
terrible,
Stanford.
terrible.
Yeah, I
Seriously.
agree. There's
Yeah.
nothing on this schedule that will make them worthy of a late surging team to make the playoffs. Yeah, I agree, bro. This is bad, bad.
Yeah, that's
So
bad. I mean, like, come on, you got to take care of your. I mean, like, it's bad enough when we had this stupid Indiana thing where they only played 1 tough game all year and they lost it and still made it. Like, in Notre Dame, they only play 2 tough games. They lose both of them. Come on, do the right thing. Don't because they're going to go on a 10 game winning streak now. You know that because they're playing
yeah,
these trash teams. I mean, it would be almost. They're going to be prohibitive favorites in every single one of those games just by definition of their schedule. And I just
yeah,
don't think that by definition, your schedule shouldn't be the key. A schedule that you control, that you make, should be the key to you making the playoffs. But that's just my humble opinion.
I agree. No disagreements with me on that. But yeah, I won't cry any tears for Notre Dame losing. It's just, I mean, there, it's one of those things about it. You said you gave the reason why. My Notre Dame dislike is not at the level of Michigan, but it's when you consider how pompous and arrogant and delusional their fans have been over all these years, especially when they play us. And then you look at the fact that they haven't beat us since what, the 70s or something. I don't know. It's been a long time.
36.
Oh my Jesus, Lord Jesus,
Yeah.
36.
Yeah, 36.
Oh, bro, that just makes it. And you can see why old man Lou Holtz is just, he's gonna pop off whatever he gets a chance because that.
Yeah, but give me a rating now on a scale of 1 to 100, where your hate for Michigan and the pomposity of the Michigan thing is 100. Where's Notre Dame? Because for me, they might be a 60 or something like that. But I mean, Michigan is like a 200.
Yeah, the pomposity. I love that. Um, well, okay. I'm going by when we play them, okay, because
Okay.
that's when it's the most hot and heated. I'm going to say 75 to 80. Like they're really
Okay.
bad. Their fans are bad. When we're about to play them, they're bad.
Because I was the national championship game, and when I was picking up trash at the national championship game and doing all that stuff like that, the Notre Dame fans they were pretty quiet going into that game. I don't know if they just knew they were going to a summary execution, and that's why. But there wasn't a lot of like leprechaun chatter and stuff like that going around there. So they were. I that was a firsthand experience with them down there, and maybe that was just because they knew that their goose was cooked and it was not their night. But before the
Yeah.
game, during the game, everything, there was not a lot of trash. Whereas Michigan fans, like they are the most delusional, dumb fans in all of college football. I mean, like
Yeah.
they are.
It's not
Now
close.
I love the fact that their new savior, Fat Underwood, is going to be the guy that's going to lead them to the promised land. And oh, this is so great. And oh, it's just like, oh my God, that guy is a walking train wreck, man. Everything about him screams problems. I mean, it's wait till guys like that. I'm just telling you, whenever they face adversity, you're going to see his true colors. Whenever there's some adversity. So, but when things are going good, oh man, he will be the
Oh
greatest guy.
yeah.
And just
And he'll run his
the
mouth and
the
all
big
that.
smile, the whole thing, the $1 million thing. Yeah, yeah. But when there's any adversity, oh my God, that guy, he's going to start pointing fingers, screaming at guys, yelling, this and that. I know that guy. I know I've known 100 guys like him in my life. He's no different. Fat Underwood is who he is.
Yep. No, I agree. And with the whole Notre Dame thing, I think they were a little gun shy because usually when we play them, it's not that close together, right? I mean, we had just played them back to back, and then not only that, we just destroyed 3 straight playoff teams. So it's just like, it's just kind of like, maybe I'll pump the brakes a little on this one. So
What
I
would
think
Michigan
that's,
what would Michigan fans have done in that situation?
oh my God, they would have, we're going to beat you, and and you guys suck, and Ryan Day's soft, and
Yeah,
you,
exactly.
I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, talking now about how they're going to beat us, by
Oh
multiple
God.
scores with Underwood, and their logic is, and again, disclaimer: dumb loss, stupid loss, probably the catalyst for us winning the title. So I'll take it, and from that standpoint. But it was a bad loss on us. We lost that game. Anyway, point is that they're already throwing the logic out there of, well, if we beat you with our bad QB, what more will we do with our good QB, who's a generational talent? That's their logic. Okay, so this is not the same year. This is a different team. This is a different Ryan Day. I'm just telling you. I'm just telling you. So anyway,
Well, unless they can get more eligibility for those two big monsters on the defensive line from last
right.
year,
Yes.
they get those guys. If those guys walk back through the door, they may have a point. But other than that, Fat Underwood doesn't do anything that scares me, man.
No,
What are you gonna?
not at
What's he
all.
gonna? He gonna run around, run away from Arvell Reese and Caleb Downs and those guys? Yeah, good
Oh
luck.
man.
Good luck with that one, man.
Oh man, I'm glad you brought that up because there was a clip where Arvell Reese Well, you saw the game, but somebody on Twitter highlighted the clip, and they just showed the speed from the back end of him running Navarro down. And in real time, we saw it. But then when you see the replay, it's just like, this dude is insane. I mean, it's literally scary watching him just take off with his size and track Navarro down and batted the ball down. It's crazy.
But it's bad. I'm telling you, I'm already at the point where that's bad news. B. You know why that's bad news? Because he's going to go to the NFL next year, and we're not going to see him in 2026. I just don't know if they can get a big enough bag to keep him around because he's so freaking good.
Yeah,
He's so
gone.
freaking good.
He's gone. And I'm fine with that. If we're hoisting that trophy, we beat Michigan, hoist that trophy.
Yeah. What if we lose to Michigan but win the championship? Will that ruin it for you if we lose to Michigan but win the national championship?
Will it ruin it for? It will never ruin it for me. I will be extremely upset.
No, Michigan fans tell you that it ruins it. You know it comes with an asterisk when you lose to them but win the national championship.
No, that would be what 4 natties in my lifetime. Two natties back to back, first time since the 40s for any Big Ten team. And who was the other stat I mentioned earlier? The Big Ten stat. Oh yeah, and then the first back-to-back since Woody Hayes. Yeah, no, I'm definitely celebrating. I'm gonna be annoyed because I hate them, not because I'm not gonna celebrate a natty, but we're gonna do both though. We're gonna do both this year.
If I said to you, okay, we're gonna lose 10 in a row to Michigan, but we'll win 3 natties during that period of time, are you okay with that?
Has to be 5.
5 natties?
5 natties.
5 natties for 10 in a row against Michigan. 5 natties.
5 natties because go ahead.
I would take 10 in a row for 2 natties. I would take 10 in a row for 2. Just because, dude, I'm older than you, B. I'm older than you. You were born in 2021 or whatever the year you were born or whatever. I was born so long ago that, man,
you trying to funky buck me?
we went from 68 to 2002 without a national championship, man. It's like that was so long.
Yeah,
it's
that was long.
That was so long. And think about all those great teams. Think about those great Archie Griffin teams and Corny Green and all those great Cooper. I mean, we didn't win from 68 to 2002.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So,
but now, to us younger pups, it's like we're swimming in natties.
You win every year. You win every year. BYU's like, we win every year. It's like, no, B, it doesn't work that way, man.
I mean, my kids literally, they just all they know is natties. I mean, even with these Michigan supposed losses, they know they cheated. So my kids don't even recognize. They don't recognize the 21 through 23 window because they know they cheated. So they just know success. But real quick, before it slips my mind, people, and we'll get to the super chats and all that. But Nevada brought this up earlier. We need to push JJ for Heisman. Push it. I forget what the odds are. Actually, I got it up right here. He has a chance, y'all. I mean, right now he's plus 1,800. Odds, and you got your Carson Becks, John Mateer, the quarterbacks. But it's a long season, and these quarterbacks aren't super impressive. And there's some losses coming. Carson Beck, they're going to lose. John Mateer, Oklahoma will lose some games. I don't know, Nevada. Do you think there's a legitimate – is this a Devontae Smith type of year where he has a real shot to win it?
I think it's literally a 2-man race. I think it's him and Carson Beck. They're the 2 household names in college football. And if Carson Beck loses, along the way, stripped up along the way, which I think it's inevitable that he does.
I'm gonna look at their schedule. Let me see.
I think, but I mean, they're not a great team. You know what I'm saying? Like they're gonna lose. They're gonna lose games. I think JJ should win the Heisman. I think he's going to win the Heisman because what you're looking for is there a dominant running back or is there a dominant household name quarterback playing for a power team that's going to run the table? And the answer is no. There's just not. Oklahoma. No, Oklahoma's going to have 5 losses this year. And what's Miami? What's Carson Beck? Yeah, I mean they're going to lose a lot of games. What's Carson Beck going to do? I mean they'll lose at least 3. So I mean,
I'm looking at the schedule now. Do you know their schedule? I'll tell you, I don't know, Nevada, because the back end is pretty soft. But they got Florida this week. They're at
Loss.
home versus Florida. Oh, you think that's a loss? Because Florida's
I think
not
it's a loss.
good.
I know, but
Okay.
I don't think Miami's any good. I think Florida's going to be mad and they're going to come back and win.
Hey, well, hey, that'll be great because guess who they got coming up the week? Actually, they got a bye week, and then they got at Florida State. They
Loss.
got to go on the road. Okay. Then they got Louisville at home, Stanford at home, at SMU, Syracuse, NC State, Virginia Tech, at Pittsburgh. Pretty soft schedule on the back end. But
Yeah.
that Florida State game, I think, is a definite loss.
Yeah, no, I no, I think they'll lose twice in the regular season and they'll lose once in the ACC championship game or whatever the thing is.
Yeah.
They'll have three losses. And like I said, I just think that when you compare, I mean, JJ Smith is a once in a, I'm not even sure generations a long enough term. He's a once in a 50-year type of player. He's the guy that would be the consensus number one pick. Where's Carson Beck going to go in the draft compared to JJ Smith? You know what I'm saying? I mean, Carson Beck, what is it, a 6th round draft pick or something like that? I mean, JJ Smith is going to be the first pick in the draft, no doubt, guaranteed.
Yeah. Yeah. Sleepy Eyes Carson Beck. I've never been impressed with him.
No.
I've never been impressed with him. Like, so yeah, I don't. He definitely has a shot. And again, I know some people try to say, "Well, they just padded JJ stats." Well, good. Give him rushing touchdowns. Let him pop a punt return for a touchdown. If he does that, ooh, it's really on. If he can, run one back. But even if he doesn't have to do that. But if he did, that's like okay, he's gonna really surge. But let him cook, man. Give him the ball. And as long as it's within the offense and all that, and we're not hurting the team, I want him to get the Heisman. It's time again. It's time, Nevada.
Well, if we had a competent SID, this would be the push. I mean, again, there has to do it for a wide receiver. It's got to be a moment in time where you've got the right combination of team and lack of other candidates. And I'm just telling you, look around the college football landscape. There's just a. Can you name a player on Georgia right now? Can you name a player on Georgia?
I cannot actually. I
That's
can't.
this is what I'm saying.
Wow.
Or
That's a
like
good
USC.
question.
Can you name a player on USC?
Tackett Curtis transferred, didn't he?
Okay, Tackett Curtis. You know what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? Like, there's just no,
Yeah.
it's not one of those years where you're like, oh wow, it's Marcus Dupree or Herschel Walker or you know what I'm saying? Like, there's just not that guy. And I
Yeah.
mean, Desmond Howard won it. DeAndre. I mean, why not? Like I said, I would feature JJ every way possible, and I'd push him, and he could win the Heisman, and he will win the Heisman. Calling it right now.
All right. That will be great because we've had a load of cats in New York over the years and just couldn't get over the hump. So it's time. All right. Kevin Newby, thanks for the 199. What was the point of getting Ty Howard in the portal? Nevada, I think he's talking about the linebacker transfer from I think Duquesne or something. Is that who you talking about?
I mean, I think I think depth, special teams guy. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, improve your APR. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
yeah. I think sometimes, sometimes guys want to come in because they want to get into coaching afterward. And there's lots of different reasons. Sometimes they're doing a favor for a kid who wants to get closer to home, or there's somebody in the family's got a familiar contact. But yeah, I don't think it had anything to do with playing time or anybody that's going to make any type of huge contributions to the Buckeyes on the field.
Hold on now. I just saw something on here, Nevada. This might answer your question, Kevin. I'm looking, and it's giving the key details of him. And the last bullet point says family, older brother of Ohio State freshman running back Bo Jackson.
See, this is what we're talking about. Yeah, I was gonna say that there you have your answer. It's like a mystery. It's like
There it is.
I'm gonna get you one of those like Sherlock Holmes hats and like the pipe and stuff like that. B. Moses, the other detective.
You
I
have a
could be like
segment.
I give you a segment where B. Moses is like Sherlock Holmes and I'm like Watson, and I'll ask you questions, and you'll B. Moses is like, well, you see, Nevada, actually, he's the older brother of freshman running back Bo Jackson. I'm like, mystery solved. We'll be like a mystery. We give like a mystery team. We go around the thing and solve mysteries.
Then I'll just puff smoke out the pipe with my pinky in the air. I like it. I like it.
Yes.
Interns, get on that. All right. Will the Thrill, thanks for the $9.99. Love Nebraska to beat Scum this week. I also like Google. At first, I didn't know you were going. I also like Google Me to knock off Illinois at home. As for the Bucks, just hand it to Bo. Red zone, blue zone, pink zone, Lakers in 5. Nah, I added that. Whatever. But no, good stuff, Will the Thrill. Google Me. He's talking about Signetti, the coach for Indiana, for those who don't know. How do you feel about that, Nevada? You think Indiana can knock Illinois off, and do you want them to? Because that kind of I want a top 10 matchup, even though I know we're better than Illinois. Even though I'm nervous about that game, we just got to come ready to play. But do you want them to lose to Indiana, or will you want to keep that undefeated top 10 luster?
It's a great question, man. I go back and forth on that because, like, on one hand, do I want, I'd like Illinois to lose because I don't want them believing that they're a great team. And on the other hand, I do like, if they're highly ranked when we beat them, it helps us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, I can go back and forth on that. Um, so I think that I'm not gonna put any of my emotional energy into that game. I'm just gonna let the game play out and do it. So I'm not gonna put my finger on the scale and influence the outcome in any way. I'm just going to let whatever the football gods decide on that game that we're gonna go with that. And as for Bo Jackson in the red zone, yeah, you need. I mean, Bo's the guy. I mean, I think they know it. You saw the carries. They kind of. I think they did 9.95 this time, and Bo was one of the nines. So I think it's happening where they're doing it. He's got the talent. He's got the ability. He's got the vision, and he's certainly a guy that can spark that running game for Ohio State. So I would expect that to happen for sure.
Cool. So my quick answer is I do not want Indiana to win. I want Illinois to win. I want it to be a top 10 matchup. I want the pomp and circumstance. I want another top 10 win for Ryan Day. That's what I want. I don't think Indiana's going to be that good this year. So give it to Illinois. Let them be all nice and pumped up, feeling themselves. Altmaier's good, Nevada. I think he may be the best quarterback we see all season, all regular season. He's good. So our pass defense will be tested probably for the first time. I don't think Washington's going to test our pass defense as much. And so, yeah, I'm excited about that game. A little nervous, excited, but Bo Jackson, yeah, I'm excited about that dude. We got this whole bye week to work on him getting more first team reps, even getting a game plan for his skill set. Although he can do it all. That big run he had for 65 was up the gut. It was up the middle, but we also saw him get the ball on the edge and still look good. So I'm very excited, Nevada, about the potential of this run game because I have not thrown out Donaldson or Peoples. We need them all. We need them all. We don't need Bo Jackson to be Claret and take 27 carries. It's a new day. Give him a strong 15. Strong 15. He's going to break at least two or three of them for 30 plus yards. And I think this run game will be in great shape, Nevada, going forward with Bo Jackson emerging.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's got to provide that spark, and the good news is I think he can, and that's what we hope. After the first time early returns on Donaldson and Peoples were like, "Ooh, I'm not sure." We needed somebody to jump up, and now he does, and that's only going to make him spur those guys on to be better too. And hopefully by the year's end, all three of those guys are cooking.
Yep. And I think they will. I think Donaldson will do what he does. He's going to be really good for us in between the tackles, short yardage. He can catch out of the backfield. Peoples, I think, is still, you can see him picking away. He's getting closer. I think it's a confidence thing. It's the game coming to him more, slowing down. I'm not saying he's going to be dynamic as Bo Jackson, but I think there's another gear and another level in Peoples yet, and he's going to eventually get there. And so you got that combination of those three guys with Bo Jackson being the star. I mean, and then you mix our passing game in. Oh my goodness, it's going to be beautiful. So we're excited. Listen, we got a full week, heading into this bye week, well, this improvement week. And so, we're going to talk about more of what we're hearing. We're going to look at some film later on, and we're going to discuss some other games and things like that. And I'm sure there'll be narratives. I'm sure there'll be scum, chirping, and it's going to be all that goofy stuff. Best and believe, and we'll be here to cover it. But we're going to go ahead and head out. Y'all make sure y'all have a good rest of y'all evening. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all, Scoop family. And we'll talk to y'all soon. Peace. Go Bucks.